Okay, I don't know what it is. I don't understand it. I love RTS games. I really do. You know, StarCraft and Warcraft 3 back in the day gave me life in a way that many things did not. But today, after the Steam Next Fest and where I'm at today, I can't stop thinking about Gord. Now, you're probably at least somewhat familiar with the game, or at least interested in, dark base building games if you're clicking on this video. So with that being said, some of your need to knows are that this is being published by Team 17, a pretty well-known publisher that actually just put out Trepang Squared, or Trepang 2, I'm still not really sure how to say that, recently to really, really, really high reviews. But Gord is from Covenant Dev, which, while that's a newer studio altogether and not really someone I would expect you to know by name, there's a lot of employees from both the teams that worked on Frostpunk, another city simulator like this where you have to make those tough choices, very dark but different setting. And then there's also developers from The Witcher here, which I think personally shows really well into the Slavic folklore setting that this is placed in. But to anyone who doesn't know exactly what Gord is a single-player adventure strategy game. To survive, you must build, but to prevail, you must conquer the darkness before the gates. In this dark fantasy world, you must complete quests while managing a populace whose personal stories and well-being decide the fate of your tribe. And I have to say, as I'm going to get into all of the need to knows and what's on the Steam page so far for the game, I have to say, this game played in the 2 levels that were available in the demo very, very well. I really enjoyed everything that was here. As for when you're going to be able to play the game, that's August 8th, 2023. The price is $34.99 US, but that is the deluxe edition. But as of right now, that's the only version you're able to pre-order. Now, as for where you can play on the Xbox and PlayStation next-gen consoles, PS5, Series X and S, and then, of course, you can play on PC, which is where I've played it so far. But getting into a little bit more of the nitty-gritty of what the game is, you're going to have to strategize your adventure within the dark fantasy setting, as I already said. You will lead the people of the Tribe of Dawn, who is set up in the demo of the game. Now, the cinematic and story setups were actually very reminiscent in tone to the earlier Witcher games, to me. But it sets up very quickly that you are to lead the people of the Tribe of Dawn as they venture deep into forbidden lands. You'll complete quests that shape their personalities, impact their well-being, and decide the fate of the community. And you'll ensure the survival of your populace in a grim fantasy world inspired by Slavic folklore. Now, it talks there about how you'll do quests to shape their personalities, impact their well-beings, and decide the fate of your community. Now, we haven't went too far into that as far as the demo goes, so I can't speak to how that plays out over the existence of the campaign. All I do know is that as you're building out your area, you'll notice that each person has their own individual traits. For instance, there's some people who are scared of the dark, so they move 50% slower in the darkness. So if they're not a character that's holding a torch, or they're not near torches or fire or something, they're going to be moving slower if they're going out to collect stuff. On the inverse, there's also characters who thrive in the darkness, or they thrive, for bloodlust or something like that. But you get the idea, speed, how much XP they get during combat, different things like that are all affected. But stepping back from the people for just a moment, let's talk about the city itself. To me, it's really interesting because the city building itself is one of the first I've ever played that felt like it had a survival element to it. And that's something that they're definitely showing off. You're going to have to erect palisades, develop structures, and grow your Gord from a humble settlement to a formidable fortress. However, expansion won't be easy. Your population is constantly at risk from enemy tribes, gruesome monsters, and mysterious powers that lurk in the surrounding woods. Now, when I played, there wasn't much attacking done to me. There was very minimal, and it was only for the story and the tutorial's sake. But the enemies throughout the world were pretty easy, all things considered, but I was kind of throwing my entire crew at them. But eventually, I did get a taste of what it was like to deal with an enemy that is too tough to kill in normal means. And this isn't like a normal RTS game where you can just train new troops. You can change the roles of your civilizations. For instance, you have a guy that's gathering food or a lumberjack. You send them over to get trained. It's going to cost gold to train them into soldiers and to pay them. But when you do that, they're actually going to be much more effective fighters. And then, of course, you could also make them archers as well. So there are things you can do to make your troops better, but ultimately the only way that I found that you can add people to your crew as of right now, or to your Gord, I should say, is either wait for people to have babies, which is kind of something that just happens if people are happy and, things are going well for the Gord. Or I think you can find people throughout the woods. The demo had a bit of this, but I'm not sure if it was just for story's sake or not. But speaking of going out into the wilderness of this land, one thing that I thought was really interesting, just in this small bit, was that there is a wide variety of quests. The versatile quest in Gord will have you venturing beyond the walls of your settlement, either to prevent calamity from happening or to address a personal matter of one of your subjects. Now, that's something that I haven't seen play out personally, but something that I did do in the demo right at the end was... It's, I don't know how to say this. One of my characters had a background that it said that her two children or something like that had all died already. So, before she even joined my Gord, she had nothing to lose. And miraculously, somehow, through the events of my Gord just being good and a nice drinking environment, she had another kid. Now, kids don't take long to grow up in this world. They can't do much on their own, or at all, really. But as I get to the end of the demo, or the last level of the demo, there's a demon that, in order to pass, you either have to give him a child, sacrifice a child, or you can try to fight and defeat him. Now, Scout's Honor... I saved the game, and I tried to attack him with all of my troops at once. We hardly did anything to that guy. So I could either play the game and, make this a really long thing. I get more people, wait for more people to be born, this or that, and then attack him again with more troops. But that just wasn't going to work for me. So I sacrificed my character. I named her Baracko Mama. I renamed her after she had died. Her children had died. She had a new kid, and that kid was then sacrificed to this demon. It was very gruesome. There was a whole cutscene and everything. And I love that there's cutscenes in engine and cinematics for the game as well. It's all really, really cool, and it showed just how personal a lot of these decisions can be, as each of these characters are. It's kind of like Sims. You can name them whatever you want if you choose, or you can leave them default, and it's just so awesome. And with that being said, that was, of course, a part of the main objective of the scenario, or the level that I'm on. And that will kind of guide your journey as you go, as it did for me. But as you continue on, there are going to be side quests and random encounters that you'll need to dispatch into the wilderness to hunt down, say, legendary creatures, or uncover secrets of the ancients, or vanquish a nasty scourge. You need to expect the unexpected here, and truly, to me, that's amazing. And while I only played 2 levels of the demo, and honestly, we didn't fill out the tech tree at all. We didn't do a lot of the advanced masonry or, the advanced building structures. I'm so impressed with the promise of this game that I feel like I'm going to be here day one for this. And truly, it's going to be something special. Another thing that the store page mentions that I had no idea about before honestly going out for this video was custom scenarios with procedural generation. So you can set the stage by choosing a wide range of scenario options and try to emerge victorious. You can take it easy or set an impossible challenge. Almost anything can be adjusted. Choose from a variety of primary objectives. You can select the level size and intensity of raids, and even the environment that you'll play in, or the types of enemies you'll face, your starting resources, and even the severity of weather. Of course, don't forget the horrors. Now, to me, this is so interesting. For me, as someone who hasn't played the game in depth yet, I'm not sure what the scenario options can be. Are there certain objectives like go kill a legendary creature that we have to build up to? As a single player game that this sounds like the best option for those old Warcraft 3 custom maps. Yes, you're not going to have multiplayer here, but if you ever played the Warcraft 3 custom maps, with, all insanity, different bases coming at you, that was crazy. And this sounds like this can be just as crazy within the parameters of this game. But speaking of crazy, and I love that transition I just did there, we have the impactful sanity systems. A healthy populace is the key to survival in Gord. Every aspect of your settlers' lives, from illness to hunger to the death of their kin, can impact each subject's sanity levels. You'll need to keep a close eye on them, as once a subject's sanity reaches a critical point, they will suffer a breakdown or even flee your rule. And from my experience, the one time that I forgot to have proper feeding for my Gord while I was trying to finish the objective, that is exactly what happened. Everybody left me and it was terrible. But you, as the player, do have a little bit of control of the battlefield as well. And you're going to be able to unleash powerful incantations. And this is explained throughout the story by meeting a character who's a sorceress, who kind of joins the leading party, so you kind of play as the leaders of the Gord, if that makes sense. You'll please the gods with your prayers, and they give you access to their spellcasting abilities. Incantations vary in nature. Some are offensive while others are defensive, but they all help you to tip the battlefield in your favor, conceal areas from your enemies, gain control over threatening beasts, and turn an unholy rage against all who dare to oppose you. And of course, there's simple stuff like Fireball that I saw in the demo. So, I was just a little bitch when I played. But overall, I really like the ability of the actual player or the leaders to control more than just where the troops go in the battlefield or who does what. And finally, we'll be able to uncover the world's mysteries in the Chronicle. The Chronicle explains the history of the Gord universe that blends real-world Slavic mythology with dark fantasy. Pages torn from the Chronicle will be scattered throughout the game's landscape, giving dedicated players an additional challenge of discovery. Collecting as many pages as possible will provide insight into the origin of the gods, ancient factions, and the mystical whisperers. So to me, this sounds like a lot of for lore stuff, and then of course for, those collectors, 100%ers, and different things like that. So hopefully there's achievements attached. Now, as we wind down for the last bit of this video, I think it's important to note that this game's going to be pretty fucking cool. It just is. We know pretty much everything we need to know about it at this point. It's not too far out. But as I wanted to talk about just a little bit is the pre-order bonuses. So, as of right now, you can pre-order the game for $35. And if you're playing on Steam Deck, it is said that the game is going to be playable. So I figure the text might be a little small, which is taking it away from the fact that it's not going to be, deck verified. But if you're going to be pre-ordering the game, you'll get, of course, the full game, an additional custom scenario with the Hold Your Ground, which is a wave defense scenario. You'll defend your Gord against increasingly stronger waves of enemies, and you'll have to prepare your defenses and brace for the oncoming onslaught. So that is what I really like on that one. I think that's going to be really cool. And then, of course, you get the digital art book and the digital soundtrack. So to me, that's honestly nothing too crazy. You can always just look these things up otherwise. But really, that's it for me. So thank you guys for watching this video. My name is Falling Hurts, and yeah, that's it. If you like this video, consider subscribing. Otherwise, go check out the game or be here on day one for the review. Yeah, goodbye.